Hey everybody, we're a couple of weeks after New York Comic Con. It was a crazy time, and there was something that has been on my mind that I wanted to talk about. And again, it's taken a little bit of time, and I apologize for that. But we're at a very special moment in my life where we can talk about Funko Fusion, but not only with you guys, I get to bring in the co founder and head of publishing. We have Arthur Parsons with us. Arthur, thank you so much for your time to be here today. Appreciate that.
No, I appreciate the chance to have a conversation. It's always great to be able to talk to people about the game, about the journey, about everything we're doing, everything we've done, and maybe the odd sneak peek at what we are yet to do. Quite possibly. I have a really good habit of giving away secrets, so we'll see if we get there.
Okay. Well, the first thing I wanted to mention is I know off the record we talked a little bit briefly about we were supposed to meet at New York Comic Con. Schedules happened. That's a place that's very very busy, and I understand. And again, I'm grateful that your team took the time to sit with me at the show. I got to talk to other people. I got to see the community engaging with the love of 1010 games and obviously the Funko world as a whole. So I wanted to thank you on behalf of myself from somebody that, as I'll mention, I have a very love hate relationship with the game. It's definitely more in the positive love at this point. We'll talk a little bit about that, but most of you have read my review on Gaming Age, which took a lot longer than it should have, and I apologize. But I felt it was in the right mindset to approach this game a little different. And I wanted to share that with you, which is simply, we talk about reviews and games coming out and the trouble that can happen and what can happen post launch, but we don't talk about the integrity that sometimes a company has to really take the time, understand what's going on with the community, understand what's going on with the experience, and not necessarily cater, but see where the balance is in how we can make an improvement for everybody and not just that one person that's complaining about this one level or things like that. So I definitely feel you all had a task on your hand to deal with obviously the experience of the launch, which we know was a little rocky unfortunately.
Yep.
But my perspective is coming from somebody that was reviewing the game pre-launch into post-launch. And the one thing I wanted to mention was how different the game has been since. That's the most important thing out of this entire conversation is how much the game has evolved in less than a month at this point, month and a half maybe. It's an incredible feat. And again, playing it initially, one thing, people don't know with a lot of times the editors are able to get some tips to help us with the review process. I was ignorant and I decided I wanted to just kind of go in blind. So that's on me because I feel like if I would have looked at some of the things that were supplied to me, it would have been a little easier. But outside of that, the frustrations of kind of the balancing of the combat and a little bit of not having the available characters initially, things like that. It was a little concerning for me because I was also playing it because my son introduced me to the game, who's 8
Right.
years old and is a big Funko fan, but a bigger Five Nights at Freddy's fan. So the fact that he knew that we were going to get Freddy Fazbear and Foxy in a game, I had to. So the fact that I was getting to a point where like, all right, let's get to this point and I'm not progressing and then I'm questioning my own sanity. Am I getting old? Am I not good at games anymore? And that was my biggest concern. But obviously, we fast forward to a week, maybe a week and a half. We saw patches come out. We saw your videos that talked about the pain points and the fact that you acknowledged it immediately. And then I was asked to hang out, and I did. And literally, that first patch changed everything. And obviously, it's just been sky high since. So how do you feel, obviously taking that critical feedback, when you went in, did you think that this game, we're ready to go? Like, were you surprised by maybe the type of feedback you received as far as the overall experience?
If I'm 100% honest, no, I wasn't surprised. This the journey of making the game, the journey of forming the studio and everything else. Like there was a pinch point towards the end where we were looking and going, right, yeah, we're right on the cusp here. Do we send early code out? Do we not? Do we sit on it? And we were kind of in that sort of quandary of like, do we wait? Do we go? There were so many moving parts, and we made the choice to send the game out, but we were playing it ourselves, and we were like, this there's something not quite right, and we've got to make a real conscious decision now to do we make a couple of real drastic changes to the game. The content itself is good, right? We know that it's super authentic, it's super fun, but like very, very quickly we realized people are finding it hard to find the fun stuff. People are finding it hard to find, the Hidden Jaws level, or the Shaun of the Dead level, or like people are finding it hard to be able to express themselves with their favorite characters. And so almost instantly it was like we've got to really quickly pivot. And I remember like that first day back post launch, sitting down and going, what can we do? Like, what can we do really quickly to kind of address not only some of the technical issues, because there was a couple of technical issues in there that, like, believe it or not, we thought we'd resolved. I think there was like some cutscene stalling, some sound issues. There was just some things that were like irritating because we thought we'd already like hammered those. But yeah, like that biggest change was people are finding it too grindy. I think that's the best way of describing it. It's like people are going into their favorite IP, but hey, guess what? Like they may then want to go to another IP, or they may have got like some DLC characters and like they're not able to use them right away. Um, so we made what was a really drastic change, like really quickly, which was, hey, guess what? Like pick a character, do what you want. Like we removed that barrier to entry. Like for those people that weren't aware, like right at the start, you literally had to. So say you'd picked He-Man, your favorite character, like that was it. You could play as He-Man, Teela, Man at Arms, and Orko, and you were kind of like reined in, and it was almost like you had to play the content, and we were going to make you play it again. And the early feedback was like, hey, this is grindy, like I just want to have fun. And it's like, where's all the hidden level, where's the Five Nights at Freddy's levels you told me about and everything else? So it's like, right, just quickly change, right, whatever character you want, do what you want, go where you want, like make sure that they can unlock extra levels really quickly, make sure that players can like have fun and play around, make sure that the things they want to do, that we're doing it. Like we were literally there, and we'd gate kept, if that's such a word. We'd like block stuff off unnecessarily because we were worried people would get through the content too fast. And then obviously we realized actually to 100% this game, it's like it's long. It's like 40 plus hours probably.
Right.
Um, why are we stopping people enjoying it? What? Okay, so let's just take those walls down. Play with any character. Go wherever you want. The cameo levels. No one can find the cameo levels. What are we doing? They're like some of the best bits. The mummy level. Like let's just like draw attention to those. Make sure people can get those really quick. Make sure people can get the mechanics real quick to unlock the hidden content real quick. So yeah, that first major update was kind of flipped the game on its head, right? Um, so there was like, there was some technical issues fixed, boom, not a problem. But like that, when we first made that change and we were playing it before we released that update, everyone in the office was like, this game just feels like a different game. And I know that's weird because the actual game's the game, but like it felt like a completely different game. So yeah, like you look back in time and think, yeah, why don't we do that like pre-launch? Because that would have like had such an impact on that initial reception from people, and maybe they would have then gone and overlooked maybe the odd technical issue here and there. So yeah, like we had to own it, take it on the chin, like tell people, hands up, like we're sorry, but bear with us. We will address this quick, and we've like the team have done a terrific job at just turning stuff around rapidly, like super fast turning around, hot fixes, updates, like balancing. We had this weird reception, actually. And sorry to go on a slight tangent, but we had a weird reception where we had some people contacting us going, "Hey, I kind of thought this was going to be like a Lego game, but grown up. So, like, I'm finding it really hard. I just want to enjoy the stuff you've made, but I'm getting hammered. Like, the enemies are just like non-stop. Like, they're just respawning again and again, and they're just like murdering me. And I just want to find all the cool content." And again, we had to look at that and go, "Yeah, you know what? We've made this like hard by having respawning like groups of enemies, squads of enemies, by having enemies literally like just murdering you. If you weren't prepped and you hadn't sort of gone to the mold machine and like got yourself some sodas and stuff, it was way too hard. So we did a massive balancing pass across the game, going right. Let's just like go through, nerf some squads, change the way that some of the enemies interact and spawn in, and damage values. And there was like there was the patch notes sort of like give the high level, but like there must have been over like 400 or 500 changes in those like first couple of updates. um and yeah, then suddenly the game's like, okay, this is like, I can take a breath. I can do some stuff and then like take a breath and look around and go, oh cool, look at that Easter egg, or here's that hidden collectible. And yeah, like we we made some pretty drastic changes over the 4 or 5 weeks, the first 4 or 5 weeks. And the game now, like, it feels great. Like I'm still playing it because every time someone emails something, it's like I'll play it and I'll be like, right, let me just check that. Okay, cool. Go to the team. Can we tweak this, change this, balance that? But yeah, it feels very, very different now than it did on September the 13th.
And I will say, seriously, incredible achievement, because at the end of the day, you doing that at such a critical time, especially we're talking about a game that's coming out right before the holidays. I think it's a perfect holiday game, just throwing it out there. There are plenty of opportunities for it to get lost if, those changes weren't. And again, you have to think about the fact that we know that you're a new developer. So that's a big pain point in itself, that there's a lot of pressure on you. But to be able to do that in such a short time, and obviously, again, the fact that you are taking ownership to not only, better the game, but you're listening, because I see you on social media, you're very active. And then you mentioned that you're answering emails from the support. That's an incredible thing to say. And thank you for doing that, because again, my frustration was, I was just questioning myself, but I was also questioning, is this the type of game that I thought it was? And like you said, I think the experience, a lot of people do compare it to Lego, and I think there might be certain reasons, for that. But I think as far as the difficulty curve, I think that was the biggest step back for me. Like, I'll tell you, I know how much you love Masters of the Universe. That He-Man level destroyed me. Uh, pre-launch. I found a video online to try to get some help questioning my sanity, and I found a video that was about 2.5 hours long, and they didn't make it through the level either. It was just them
Wow.
dying over and over, and they were just like, "I don't understand." I'm like, "Why did I skip through this? It didn't help." And then I realized that it was just the level of the spawning, and nobody was really triggering Skeletor at that point in that first level. So that was a big, big part of kind of holding me back in a sense from progressing. But obviously, it's tough because you want to put your point of view on a review aspect. But again, think about most outlets. They're going to take that experience, and that's the final straw. That's where they leave that impression. And I wanted to be fair because I knew that there was something more, and I knew that there was something that I just didn't discover yet. And again, that first patch has exponentially like just changed my experience on the game. It made me play more, 60 plus hours at this point. Um, there are still certain pain points that I have. And again, this is not about me, but I know that again, there's always room for improvement. But like for me, I'm a Child's Play guy. I saw Child's Play 2 in the theater at 8 years old. So it is
Oh
very,
wow.
very, very near and dear to my heart. and I still haven't been able to unlock him because of just having to go back to the levels and fighting him again. And it's to me, it's like it's a chore. I want him. Do I want him that bad? And same with Voltron, you know. So those are just some of the things that like are giving me a reason to go back, but I'm kind of taking my time because now I'm focusing more on the cameo levels because I'm realizing how many I missed. Because again, I didn't look at a lot of the stuff that was hidden in the pre-release, you know, hey, you can get this and this. I wanted to kind of find it on my own, but then social media has kind of shared it all at this point. So, you know, I was able when I was able to find Five Nights at Freddy's, I was like mission accomplished. So that was in itself a great achievement. But let's talk post launch now. We're at the point where the game is beyond playable. It is a completely different experience. You have started releasing DLC. You announced a ton at New York Comic Con, and we're at the
Yep.
point as of recording. I believe we're supposed to have some Invincible DLC out today, um, as far as the last time I saw with the press release. So it seems like you have a lot in the pipeline. Obviously,
Yep.
what I wanted to ask you, as far as the longevity of the game. You know, obviously, if the fans are there, I believe you'll support that as long as you can. Is there thoughts of expanding the game itself? Is there thoughts of expanding it to a sequel, like to grow more IPs for actual worlds? Because for me, what I've thought about this game, I truly think that it's kind of the evolution of Toys to Life, if you remember those. Um,
Oh yes.
I
Oh
was a
yes.
very big fan of those. Rest in peace, Skylanders and Disney Infinity. But when you think about what Funko Fusion is, you have figures, collectibles. They do include DLC, and you know you're bringing them to life. The only difference is you're not forcing the consumer to purchase the products to do so. So I think that again, you working with Funko, the sky's the limit. I would think as far as IPs, it really comes down to you can run this game for years, you know. So I was just curious if you can even talk about it, if you've thought about, you know, is there a goal of like expanding this for 3 years, 4 years? Is there a thought of, you know, because obviously there's a story, you know, and at this point, do we want to tell a new story that deserves its own game, you know, or do we continue to evolve the DLC as you've been doing?
Yeah, so it's a weird one, and it's something where we're looking ourselves at like how do we approach things moving forward. Thus far we've obviously released the Bob Ross pack, which was great. Um, that was like a personal ambition of mine, was to get Bob Ross in the game. We've released a raft of free content because one of the things we really wanted to make sure we do is we cater for everyone. People like, people that don't mind like paying a small amount of money for DLCs, like pocket money prices, but also like just giving back to the community that are there, and making sure we do give things like when we added the Team Fortress 2 pack to console, stuff like that. Um, so there's more stuff coming up. I think the most recent free bit of content we gave was Frankenstein for Halloween. Um, the plan is, and by the way, I love the Toys to Life analogy because I worked on Lego Dimensions, just so you know, back in the day, um, and yeah, those games are they were great but hard, and I guess this is an evolution because you are bringing in cool stuff, and this is where we get to have fun, so we can go, yeah, let's do an integration with KFC. Great, this is great. Good. Yeah, this is just super fun. Let's bring in Invincible pack because Invincible's hot and like people love it, and yeah, we can bring in Atom Eve and Rexplode and stuff, so that's cool. And then the stuff that's coming down the line, some of that is a little bit more experimental in the terms of one of the things that's coming, that we haven't given too much detail yet, is more of a character pack, but also has kind of I guess a small level experience. So
Mhm.
it's almost like extending the engagement with that IP just to see, because if people love that, then we can do more of that. We're also trying, yeah, we are gonna support this game for as long as like people want us to. So there are some things in there that we're planning between now and holidays, but we're also starting to plan some stuff for next year. We've already got a couple of really cool things lined up and a couple of curveball things. This is for me the beauty of Funko and our partnership with Funko is yes, we can do tie-ins with a movie, tie-ins with a TV show, tie-ins with a maybe a pop culture moment. But what we can also do is tie-ins with things that people maybe wouldn't expect. So maybe tie-ins with a band, maybe tie-ins with something sports related, maybe like and I think when people see what's coming as we progress over the coming months, they'll see that we're literally listening to people and also just going, well, what about if we did this? What about if we did that? Because as we go and roll out like the co-op game, again, that's kind of a thing where people are going to be like, right, we can pick like four players, four characters that like are going to be the craziest lineups you can possibly think of. You know, you're going to be able to have like, you know, Colonel Sanders if you've unlocked him with say Orko from Masters of the Universe, with say Bob Ross, with like a zombie variant of Shaun from Shaun of the Dead. But all this juggle of characters, over 60 characters, those lineups are going to look wicked. And I think people are going to have a load of fun when that comes out. So the characters and the IPs that we're going to bring and add to the sort of like add to the game are really going to come into their own in that environment. And I think that's where we'll have like a load of fun. And then depending on how that goes, do we expand that? Do we take that further? So I think, you know, the great thing is the game's, you know, out, the game's like really well balanced now. There's still a few pinch points, and I did make a note there about Chuck in Voltron. I'll follow that up. Um, and I think as we go through now, through Black Friday and holiday, and you'll see the game getting price pulsed, and you know there'll be some, you know, you'll be able to pick the game up like really sort of like reasonable prices and stuff. Like to think that more people will come to the party. We're tracking just shy of 4 out of 5 on PSN and Xbox, which is great. So it shows that consumers have sort of played the game and gone, hey, this is a much better game now. Great. So for us, it's like, how do we keep improving it? Like I literally was talking to someone today on the team about, is there something we can add to the game that effectively is like a detector for all the, you know, all the little trinkets in a level where you have to find 5 or you know 10 bone daddies or whatever it might be. Like it's I made the game, I helped make the game, and I'm like, where's the last two? Like I'm hunting high, I'm hunting low. Like let's remove the frustration and let's literally go, hey, if you go and you like, I don't know, mold the trinket detector, whatever we call it, you know, you can mold that and you can run around holding this and it'll just bring up on the screen where they are and you can hunt them down. Like let's remove the blockers to all this stuff. We did it with one of the recent updates where we added on the status screen, we added whether or not you'd found a KFC bucket. Like people were like, I have got 41 KFC buckets. I need the 42nd one, and I have no idea where it is. Like you guys are like driving me crazy. So again, little quality of life fixes like that are going to help. So yeah, all of those things will do. Definitely looking to add some different content to the game that might be like a free pack at some time around holiday. It might be like a small paid pack that maybe accompanies something that's hot in the world. And then, like I say, yeah, we're going to try and do like a level sort of pack, which is more of an experience, and see how that goes, and just keep doing cool, fun stuff with the game to keep people engaged with it. You know, do we expand the multiplayer? You know, once it's out, we'll see what people say. I have a lot of fun playing the multiplayer because there's loads of stuff that you can get up to, and there's weird ways of playing it, and there's some fun stuff. So yeah, we just want to keep supporting the game. And it's great now hearing from people that are new to it and have bought the game recently, and they're literally emailing in, and I'm like, I'm looking at the email going, squinty eyed, open it up, and it's like, hey, you guys, love the game, just wanted to say thanks. And it's like, perfect. It's like I've not got someone shouting at me because they can't get through Motu 1 because the Beastmen are just murdering them. It's like people are now enjoying the game as we originally desired and wanted them to when we sort of obviously came up with the idea. But again, I think to your point, although myself and some of the senior team have made games many times, part of the journey with this as a new studio with half the team who it's their first game they're working on is a case of we've bitten off a lot, like making this game, doing the Switch and PlayStation 4 versions ourselves and everything else, and we're just sat there now going, right, roadmap, let's get things done bit by bit, let's like be structured and be organized, but above everything else, let's help the players first. Let's make sure that anything they find, we'll fix it. Like let's get to the bottom of any issues, do that, and then do the next thing. Do that, do the next thing. People are being patient, waiting for stuff. Right, cool. Let's add some free characters to the roster. Let's give people something cool. One of the things that like will be coming really soon is we'll be adding and I can say it because I think we're announcing it any day anyway. So we're gonna make sure that like people can play as Trapjaw, because I wanted to play from as Trapjaw from day one.
Awesome.
He's a cool character, right? And he's in the game, and it's like I spoke to the team and I was like, how hard is it to like give him all the anims that we need so he can do the interactions with the mole machine and the sodas and be a ghost and all the stuff you need, which is a load of extra animations. And they're like, yeah, that's cool, we can do that. So there's some of that stuff coming, and just having fun. Literally, like I say, I'm playing the game. Some of the team are playing the game, and we're looking at it now objectively, going, where are we finding pinch points? Because if we find a pinch point, we can fix it really quick, and then we'll just quickly squeeze that into the next update. Someone emailed me the other night saying they couldn't find the red proto on one of the Jurassic World levels, and so we did a full pass through all of the levels to make sure that all the red proto enemies were working right. And then one of the team was like, sometimes they just get away from you because you're fighting other enemies and like
Yep. They're right
they're
behind you.
ticking down. Yeah, and it ticks down too quick. So I was like, right, let's increase the timer. Let's not make it too easy, but like let's just crank that timer up a little tiny bit so that guess what? Like any little pinch points, people think, okay, that's fine. The same with like every level has the four lever speed puzzle, speed challenge. Um,
Right.
a couple of those, boy, they were
Oh
tough,
yeah.
right?
Oh yeah.
They were real hard, and I'm like, okay, like we know we want people to go, okay, maybe I can use a portal, or I can place a thing, or I can think outside the box and like almost like set up a route to be able to do it. But some people are like, they just want to try and do it themselves, maybe just use a speed soda. And I was like, again, let's go through, let's just rebalance every single one. So at the bare minimum, if you literally sprint from one to one, you can just make it. And then that way, if people think outside the box with some of the other like gadgets and mechanics, they'll be able to do it and they're rewarded nice and comfortable. But make sure everyone is just doable if you're literally full stamina and you sprint. So yeah, tiny balances. Like there's a lot of tiny balances and improvements because there's some people that might get this game for Christmas. I hope there's not just some. I hope there's loads of people get this game for Christmas, right? Because hey, guess what? It keeps me in a job. So, but yeah, all those people that get it now, making sure their experience is like an 8 out of 10, a 9 out of 10 experience, and they just go, "This is wicked!" Like I cannot wait for whatever those guys at 1010 Games are going to do next. Whether it's a new game, whether it's new updates, whatever it is, they listen, they act, and more importantly, like they're a developer that like I can place my trust in. They're going to do something great next time as well, and our journey continues, and everyone's happy.
Well said. I mean, you just said that's the last point is really, really critical here. It's the fact that you know that you're gonna learn from everything you have, which you already shown, and it just gives everybody confidence that the next thing that you do is just gonna be better and better. So I'm
Yeah,
excited for the future, and I appreciate that. I had, 2 more questions. I don't wanna keep you too long, I
That's
apologize.
fine.
But,
That's fine.
when it comes to IPs, obviously, you have a partnership with Funko, and obviously, a lot of that retains on their side. When it comes to the creative decision of who's included, who's not included, do you have any leverage of pitching, potential IPs that maybe they don't even have to consider?
We do actually. Um, obviously, for Funko Fusion, like our partnership was also with NBC Universal, which is why there's like a lot of NBC Universal stuff in there. And we're also working with NBC Universal on some other stuff. Like obviously we announced that The Office is coming to the game at New York Comic Con as well, so that's no secret. Um, but in terms of what else can come to the game, um, there are some people that have got in touch with us, which is lovely. It's lovely when people are like, "Hey, how have you ever thought of like insert whatever this IP is that like we're representing?" Um, that's nice. And then there's also some where I'm sat here going, "You know what would be great?" And then like basically pursuing those. And then from a Funko perspective, like they are wicked to work with. Like literally, when I talk to those guys, they are supportive with pretty much everything. They're like, "Yeah, let's do this," or they'll be saying, "Hey, we've just had a conversation with like whoever this partner is over some physical stuff we're going to be doing. Um, while I was there, I mentioned the game. They want to have a follow up. Do you want to have a jump on a call with them?" It's like, yeah, absolutely, because like what we're trying to do is scratch everyone's itch, right? So the more we can add in, the merrier. And so yeah, like there are we have a lot of active conversations right now. I had to move my camera because I realized before we started recording, I've got a whiteboard here that has what one, two, three, four, six things on there that are secret. So yeah,
Just trying to get a peek.
yeah, yeah. Thank, yeah. I remembered thankfully that, and it's such a like this is me. Like I should have put my whiteboard on that wall. Because I put it there so it's easy to draw on and write on. And then I'm like, yeah, but when you jump on a video call, that's literally in your background. It's like, oh right, yeah. So
Whoops.
yeah, there's some cool stuff on there that we're talking to people about, and a lot of the time it's just like, yeah, like, I really hope it comes off because it's a great way of engaging with an audience for different IPs, and it's also a great way that we can give people what they want. Obviously, the world of licensing is incredibly complex and it's incredibly challenging, and the stark reality is that there will be some super high profile licenses that guess what, you're not going to get those as added DLC, just because reasons. But then there's stuff that, yeah, we could do. Um, when we added Monkey King, it was like we added that because like we could and we could give it away for free, and it's a cool character, and like that character is a great character to play as. And so why not? Why not do the odd thing like that? But yeah, we're talking to a lot of people, um, and let's see what we get in. Put it this way: if some of these things come off, there's some terrific surprises for people.
Awesome. That sounds really exciting. The last thing I wanted to talk about was I don't know, I guess if there are things that are studied on maybe the Funko side, but has there been any talks about looking at the players in the community and seeing if some of these IPs have maybe got higher traffic, from like as far as interest? I'll tell you from my experience, I had mentioned it at New York Comic Con. The biggest boast that I will say about this game is it got me interested in an IP that I had on my backlist that I didn't get to, and I literally stopped playing the game to binge the entire show because I didn't want to spoil what was to come, and that was the
Nice.
Umbrella Academy. So I'm sure that there are people out there that don't know every franchise, and I was just curious if there's been any talks about seeing if that engagement has helped some of these IPs. Like I'm a diehard Scott Pilgrim fan, and I know that there are fans out there, but you probably created even more with the use of that and maybe the movies being streamed more, things like that. Has like any of those conversations happened with you?
So we haven't had any statistical information on this, but like one of the things that we do know, and this is from like interactions with fans at New York Comic Con. There was a EGX MCM Comic Con in London the week after that I went down to, and again we were speaking to people. A lot of people have kind of said to me, I got the game, like I loved it, but I had never watched, and whatever it was. Like I had one guy say, I'd never watched He-Man. I knew He-Man because of a meme online, right? The Four Non-Blondes, Hey Yeah meme, right? But I'd never watched the show. I went on Netflix and I binge watched it, and oh my God, what a great show. And I'm like, that's literally my childhood. I was 8 years old every Saturday morning watching an episode of He-Man. It's like, to be able to open the door to something like that. I had someone like say to me that never seen the thing. Now that's understandable because they were like mid-20s, I guess.
Right.
They literally went and watched John Carpenter's The Thing and were like, what a great movie. What a cult classic movie. And so I think the fact that Funko Fusion can bring people in because a love of, I don't know, Five Nights at Freddy's or um, like you say, Edgar Wright stuff, Hot Fuzz, Shaun of the Dead, like it can bring them in for that. And then because of another IP they've seen in the game, they'll then go away and watch that show, that movie. I think that's really, really comforting because there are some great things in the game from an IP standpoint that people really won't know about. Like my youngest son, he'd never watched Scott Pilgrim. Like he's 18, so it's understandable, right? He'd never watched Scott Pilgrim. And he came in and did a little bit of testing with us and helped out. And he played the Scott Pilgrim level, and he went and watched Scott Pilgrim, and he was just like, "What a great movie! Like, what a great movie!" And I said, "Yeah, and if you think the movie's great, go and read the comics, right? This is
That's
like,
it. Yep.
and this is that thing of like, literally, it's Funko's tagline: everyone's a fan of something, right? But we all like different stuff, and it doesn't matter how close your friendship groups are. There'll be stuff that we love. There'll be the occasional thing that we share that's like, Succession's great. Yeah, Succession's great. Succession's great. Like, and there'll be a thing that everyone's joined up on, but then there'll be things that people aren't joined up on, but they're precious to that individual because of a certain thing. Like my favorite movie's Goonies. Everyone knows that, um, because I grew up on it. My favorite stuff from being a child is He-Man and Fraggle Rock, right? So like I'm very weird and eclectic. So is everybody. And so we like to think that Funko Fusion will bring friendship groups together because when they can play online co-op, they can be playing as their favorite thing. It's not a problem. You can play together and you can be your favorite thing. But if someone then can become a fan of something else and go and watch Invincible or Umbrella Academy or whatever it might be, like God forbid, there are people that have never seen the Cornetto trilogy. Like they will go and watch Hot Fuzz and Shaun of the Dead and be like, these movies are great. Like there are so many fun things in these movies. Like that's kind of job done. Job done is entertaining people that buy the game, right? That's first tick. But if then we can kind of share our love for like fandoms, that's also great because there are so many things in the world to watch, to read, to enjoy. And there are so many things that people maybe haven't enjoyed, whether it's because of their age, maybe it's because sometimes they're like blinkered and like, I only like this one thing and like I won't look at other stuff. But if we can introduce people to other stuff, love it. Like let's do that thing. Let's make sure that, on the it's Jaws' 50th next year. There are people that have probably never seen Jaws and think that the Meg is like that's the movie about like sea monsters. And you're like, no. The daddy of them all is Jaws. Like, and so they'll find a cameo level and they'll play it and they go, oh wow, cool. And then like go and watch Jaws, and then they'll be scared when the head bobs out of the water, underwater, and all those little nods and moments. And I think that's for us as a developer, having worked on a myriad of games that in the Lego franchise before I came here, and now this, the one thing that we always nail is that authenticity to IP, those Easter eggs, those nods, those touches, those things that die-hard fans of IP will notice, posters on a wall, things on a desk, all that kind of stuff. And yeah, like if we can bring IP to other people, that's great. I would love to know if there's some stats. Like we have stats from the game, by the way, so we can see like which IP do people pick the most when they start the game? Like, where do they spend the most time when they are playing stuff? And so we can kind of see some stuff, but I can't see who's like gone onto a streaming service and gone and watched Scott Pilgrim. Like, I wish I
Right.
could. And you know what? If it has lifted stuff, great. I know it's lifted sales of Funko Pops of brands that are in the game.
Oh, for sure.
So that there's a definite positive reflection there, which is good because that's part of the idea of this is that it does like rejuvenate some of these dormant IPs, bring back to life some of these IPs, or echo some IPs that are like having their moment in the sun. So yeah, it's all exciting. Like I love it. I love the sort of the uneducated science behind bringing people to fun, cool stuff.
And I would say it's a very rare scenario when you think about our history of games in the license form. They usually have a bad track record. There's usually, oh, it's a cheap cash grab, and I think here is the exact opposite. It's really reinforcing the love, like you said. And I wanted to tell you thank you also for that really important component of really bringing these worlds to life. Because that's one thing that I really took in, which is every level, like you said, every little nook and cranny, especially Umbrella Academy being so fresh. Once I watched the show, went back to the game, I'm like, oh my God, I just saw that. Oh my God, that looks exactly like that. Oh my God, that's literally where they were. And it's really, I think there's a lot to go to make that what it was. And, your team did a remarkable job with that. So, again, there's just so much that I probably still haven't found. So I know I have plenty more hours to get in there, but I will leave you with that. I appreciate your time today. This has been something I've been hoping for the last month to be able to get and sit and talk with you. So I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for your time.
No, I appreciate it as well. And yeah, anyone that watches this, like, just get in touch. You can find me on social media. You can probably find my email on Reddit. Like, who knows? But it's one of those things. We want to hear from you. And then anyone that has played the game, if you've liked it, like, leave us a review on Steam or PlayStation or Xbox because believe it or not, as an independent developer, it really helps us. So yeah, but thanks for everyone for their patience. Thanks for people that are enjoying it. And if you haven't played the game yet, go and get it.
And like you said, the holidays are right around the corner. If you don't want to buy it yourself, ask for a gift. There might be some sales coming in the near future. So, with
Yeah,
that said,
ask
thank
for a
you all
gift.
for your time. Hope everybody has a great day. And remember, take care and have fun.